victims of family members, they are being pressured unnecessarily.
Yeah.
For example, Doping Hawk's case, they were given 10 minutes to find a pathologist or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there are always different ways of intimidation and threats against the families to make them not to take up civil suit against the police. Yeah? And if they eventually took up the case, and they'll put a lot of hurdles in the trial process, including one of the main problem is the post-mortem report, because the post-mortem report normally is being very questionable. So that raise another issues of the integrity of the the hospitals and the pathologists in some government hospitals, whether they actually produce the actual results of the post-mortem. But family members questions the results, and they wanted, most of the time they wanted to have a second post-mortem done by an independent pathologist that can be hired by the families, and this is always been blocked by the police, and so like in the case of Sugumar, the families try to get the pathologist from Thailand, Dr. Pongtip, and that was denied.
And they have the rights to do so. I mean, aren't we a democratic country that has legal, I don't know, at least some protection for our citizens?
Yeah, they should have the right, because this is their family members. They have the right to have a second opinion on the actual cause of death, and that's why. But there are impediments always put forward by the authorities, and to forbid them to conduct the second post-mortem. And so I see this as also an attempt to try to cover up the actual causes of death.
There are recommendations to solve this problem by setting up IPCMC, but our government has chosen to set up EAIC.
Yes.
Can you illustrate
Yes,
what are these?
the IPCMC, this is the Independent Police Complaint and Misconduct Commission, which was recommended by the Royal Commission of Inquiry in 2005 when they looked into how to reform the police force. And this is one of the main recommendations that should be implemented by the government, but they have not implemented these recommendations. Instead, they established this EAIC, the Enforcement Agencies Integrity Commission. There are very vast difference between these two institutions. Yeah? The EAIC oversees 18 law enforcement agencies, and the IPCMC only oversees the police force, which would be much more effective. Yeah? The EAIC also doesn't have the powers to actually penalize the law enforcement agencies. They can only give recommendations to the government, and then it is up to the government to decide whether to implement the recommendation or not. But in the case of IPCMC can actually come out with disciplinary actions and punishment for the law enforcement agencies officials. So I think this is probably why the government has pussyfooted in terms of establishing this IPCMC. So they are establishing this EAIC, and this EAIC has not been effective at all. It has been established in 2000. The law was passed in 2009, and then since then they've received about I think in 2012 it was reviewed by a former Chief Justice that they received, at that time they received 300 over cases,
Of death in custody?
No. Of public complaints against law enforcement agencies. And only 60 cases have been investigated. And then only 3 cases completed.
3 up to now?
3, yes. Only 3 cases completed investigation. And only one case was their recommendation was referred to the disciplinary authorities in that law enforcement agencies.
So until now we do not know how many follow-ups are there regarding death in custody, and what are the actions taken until now?
Yeah, we don't know.
How do we get all this info? Are we able to get any info?
It is very difficult to get these statistics from government agencies, and also the fact that the commission has not had their commissioners for the past 6 months. The terms of the last batch of commissioners expires in April, and then since then, the government has not appointed a new batch of commissioners. So in a way, the commission has been defunct for several months, and only in early November, the Prime Minister announced that they have appointed a new batch of commissioners.
Okay.
So how can you rely the hope for this commission to actually oversee the abuses?
Suddenly, the future of Malaysia sounds very bleak. I have lots of questions to ask, but the producer keeps saying, I have to. There's not enough time already. So, last question.
Yes.
What can we do? What can the public do?
The public need to voice out their disapproval of all these abuses of powers, and hold the government accountable. All these government agencies have to be held accountable, and one way is to use your freedom of expression, freedom of
Do we really have that? With the Sedition Act, etc.
Yes. But I think, yes, but use whatever rights that you have to voice out disapproval, and also hold the government accountable, especially the elected representative of your constituencies, whether it is the ADUN or the members of parliament, and they have to be checked on what is their positions and actions on all these cases and all the abuses of the police. If they are not performing according to the aspiration of the people, then the citizens and the voters have to vote them out and choose a better candidates that will represent the true aspiration of the people.
But I just want to add, don't wait until 4 years later to GE14. We have to act now, right? We have to talk to the MPs. We have to really pressure them into doing their job well. Okay.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Thank you very much, Swee Seng, for coming. I have still a lot of questions. I really hope that you will come back to our show again and share with our viewers. So coming up next, we have Miss Teo Lee Lan, Teo Beng Hok's sister. And stay tuned.